Hey, what's poppin' guys? Sizzle here, and today we're taking a look at the Nova skins to, see what they got to offer. So first off, we have stock. It's one of the cleaner stock designs out there. The main weapon kind of looks just clean overall with like a pretty solid stock finish. And, the barrel's like kind of flashy and shiny like it should be, so it's just good. It looks solid. You can't really complain about this weapon, so I would say it's a very solid mid C tier, if I had to say so myself. And I'm assuming this is it. Might be wrong on that, but yeah, it'll work out eventually. Then next up we have the Nova Walnut, which, it's the same thing as before, except with a kind of like wooden plastic finish, except, it kind of looks more like wood than plastic. Yeah, honestly, it's just a straight upgrade. It looks a little bit more realistic, because like all the shotguns I've seen at least are not just completely plastic. Or at least like, the ones you've seen in movies and stuff. And I've seen a few IRL, but either way, just a nicer looking version of stock. Definitely a solid C tier as well, if I can actually find it. Which might take a second. There it is. Yeah, very solid C tier skin. Pretty good stuff. Then we have the Nova Forest Leaves, which is, your standard camo skin. I don't like camo skins very much, but it is definitely a solid camo skin. That's pretty much all I can say for it, though. Solid D tier for me. Then we have the Nova Predator, which is a camo skin, but with, it's just bad. Like, the actual, stripes and stuff don't look particularly good, the color scheme is really bad, and it's just not a beautiful, looking skin or whatever. I'd say definitely just an F tier. I don't really see why I'd use this over that last camo skin. Then next up is the Nova Polar Mesh, which is just kind of there. Actually might have been okay if it was just, the black and white stripes across the whole thing, but then they added this random chain link this chain link fence in front of it. I guess because it's a mesh or whatever, but I don't like the look of it, honestly. I think it would have honestly looked pretty solid if it was just the black and white, but it's not, and that kind of takes a lot away from it. I would say it's probably a low D tier. It would have been probably a solid C tier if it wasn't for that, but I think it takes a lot away from the weapon. Then we have the Nova Sand Dune, just a really, really solid tan coloring of the weapon. Yeah, it's really clean. It's a solid color. It's nothing crazy, but it's definitely a solid color. It's very simple skin. It looks kind of beautiful. It definitely will go well with a lot of stickers. I'd say it's a solid B tier. Then next up we have the Nova Moon in Libra, which, yeah, it's a really dark blue skin. It has a lot of intricate designs on the back that you can't really see all that well and would have to really look hard at to actually see. And the front is just extremely dark, like a really, really dark blue. That's pretty much all this is. It's a dark blue version of the Nova. Doesn't really look particularly great, and it is kind of dark, so I'm just going to put it as a high C tier. Because it's not as clean or as noticeable as the Sand Dune. Then we have the Nova Mandrill, which, it's definitely bright. You have this bright white part here. The front here is kind of cleaned up and a bit more gray, which I think is kind of a negative. And then the back here, they tried something. I don't know what they were trying here, though. They just have a bunch of pipes going, randomly. It's not one of those skins where you're, seeing the internals or whatever. It's literally just a bunch of pipes randomly on the back here, and it doesn't look great, but the overall color scheme of the, gray, light gray, dark gray, and white it's a pretty good combo. So I can't put this too low, but I really can't put this that high because the actual design is not really phenomenal. It's probably right under stock for me. I'd probably use stock over this thing just because the design in the back's kind of bad. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. Then next up we have the Nova Army Sheen, which is a camo skin except really shiny, which defeats the whole point of the camo skin. It also doesn't even have the handle colored in or anything. Or not the handle, whatever, the pump. I don't know what you call it, I don't know the terms, but either way, solid F tier skin. It's the good part of a camo skin, or what people like about it, I think, is that you know, blends in. The whole point of the camo is to blend in with like nature or the background or whatever. By being really shiny like this, you defeat the whole point of a camo, and camos look ugly otherwise, so it's like a lose-lose. Anyway, then we have the one I'm currently using, the Nova Candy Apple, and you know, the reason I am using this is it's just super clean. I mean, look at this. Candy apples are like notoriously clean skins, and this is definitely no exception. Really solid red back, really solid gray front, and that's all there is to it. Stupidly clean and stupidly good looking. That's why I have it as my Nova skin. It's just really, really clean, really nice, really good to look at. We have the Nova Cage Steel, which exists. It's like if you took the shiny part of the front of the barrel and tried to extend it to the rest of the weapon. Honestly, looks a lot less clean than stock, and it doesn't have too much crazy, and it doesn't have anything really positive going on. So I'm putting this in F tier, not because it's bad, but because the stock is just better. Like, I don't see why someone would use this over stock. So yeah, it's an F tier for me. Then next up, we have the Nova Green Apple. Basically the same thing as the Candy Apple, but with a green color. I mean, really clean, just really solid. It's just not as nice of a color. I mean, I like that color red more than this color green, but that's very subjective. If you like this color green, this should be an S tier for you. Just because I like the color green a bit less, I'm putting in A tier for now, but honestly, could move it up depending on how the rest of the skins actually end up looking. Then we have the Nova Rust Coat, which, yeah, it's like a rusty shotgun, I guess, with like a blue finish. The one part is the part here isn't rusted at all or even changed from stock, which, you know, kind of looks out of place. I know your hand covers it most of the time, that's generally not a problem, but I do always find that weird when these skins have so much effort put into making them look rusty and used and stuff, and then you just have a part that's like just stock. But yeah, I mean, it's like a used Nova. It doesn't look particularly great. Like I said, it's not, you know, complete. It's definitely not horrible. I just don't really see myself using this. So, you know, high D tier. I could see why some people might though. Like if you're going for like a used weapon skin collection, this is probably the best thing we've seen so far. But that's really not saying a lot because nothing else has been competing. Then next up, we have the Nova Blaze Orange, which takes the Modern Hunter camo that looks so bad on 99% of skins and makes it somewhat okay, right? We have a really nice orange color here in the back. Like, it's a really nice color orange, and you see it for about 80%. Like, 80% of this back area is all that really nice color orange. And the textures added onto it definitely don't look nice, but they don't look completely horrible or out of place, because the color orange reminds me kind of the leaves you see in like autumn. And you know, you have the leaves and like branches from autumn just kind of right there. The front of this gun definitely doesn't look particularly amazing, but in game you generally see the back, and the front definitely doesn't look bad. It kind of works with the skin somewhat. It's definitely not like an S tier skin or anything, but it's definitely still pretty solid. I mean, it's a really solid color orange. Definitely under the sand dune in terms of like cleanliness and just how nice it looks, but it's still a very solid B tier skin. Then we have the actual Modern Hunter, which, yeah, I mean, what can I say? I do not like how the Modern Hunter looks, but on the Nova, it does actually look noticeably better. Kind of gives me the same vibes as that one pipe skin, except the back texture actually looks kind of nice here. Like, every other Modern Hunter looks horrible, but on the Nova, it actually looks okay. Still kind of not the best design in the back here, but you can actually kind of see what's going on here. Right? The branches are a lot more visible than on the orange one, and the leaves are like a golden color, so your eyes kind of get drawn to them. And, you know, the rest of this skin still goes with the texture in the back, which is, you know, it's pretty rare for older skins like this. That being said, I'm not too sure if I can put this too high, but I can probably put it, you know, as a solid C tier, like high C tier. Basically just a worse background color in my opinion. I'd like that color orange more. Then we have the Nova Quicksand, which, I mean, yeah, it's really bright if nothing else. The blue kind of front here is pretty unique, I think. I don't know if we have any other skins that have that. But otherwise, I mean, it's like a worse version of the sand dune. right? It's a less clean and simple version of the sand dune, and the design on the back is that one design you see on like every plastic cup in schools. I don't know if you guys get that reference. I don't even know how to describe it better than that. So hopefully it makes sense to you, but yeah. It's like just a worse version of the sand dune, honestly. A lot less clean, a lot more going on. Probably a low C tier. I can't really put it in D tier because it's not that bad. Like, this is still a decent thing to use if you, for some reason, can't pick up a sand dune, or at least one that looks nice. But the sand dune's just kind of better in every way. Then we have the Nova interlock, which is interesting. It's got this little like design in the back. I don't know how to describe this right now. Like a chains design, I guess. And a really solid color scheme. These colors are like blue and I think that's yellow. Go together pretty well. I mean, it's a pretty solid color scheme. I think that's what they use in a lot of countries' flags. Like, I don't actually know flags that well, so I'm not gonna say country right now. But I was thinking of one. Anyway, yeah. I mean, solid color scheme, okay-ish design. Honestly, probably like a mid B tier. Yeah, if I had to put it anywhere. Then next up we have the Nova Tempest, which, yeah, really clean blue design. The clouds don't look particularly great or whatever. They actually look kind of bad if I'm being honest with you. I think this would be worse without them though, because the color of blue in the back is not as clean as the color used in the barrel here. But yeah, I mean it's a okay design with solid coloring otherwise. I'd say it's probably a high C tier. I don't think it belongs with the skins in the B tier. They're a lot more clean than this one is. Then we have the Nova Ghost Camo, which it's a camo skin, really dull, but unlike a lot of other camo skins where at least the colors will maybe blend in with something, right? It'll blend in with like, you know, like a bush or something if you really kind of squint your eyes. I don't see what this blends in with. Like, this is just a bad camo. The whole point of a camo is to, you know, kind of blend in. So I'd say this is F tier, and it doesn't have any like special colors or anything that makes it worth using, really. Real question is, can I find it that we have? I'm not too sure if I can, so I'm just gonna assume it's this one and put an F tier. Yeah. Then next up we have the Nova Ranger, not the EXO. Kind of went out of order. Yeah, the Nova Ranger, which is just kind of a worse version of that already existing camo skin, but not completely unusable. It's just like slightly worse. It has, I guess, this cool, probably kill count design of like 7 kills or whatever. Which is actually, that's the highest amount of kills you can get in a round of CS without getting banned. Maybe that's the point of that detail. I highly doubt it, but it would be kind of funny if they took the 2 team kills you can get without getting kicked into account. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's just a slightly worse version of that existing camo skin. So it's just like right below it, D tier. They're kind of somewhat interchangeable, but this one's definitively worse because there's not as much camo on the barrel in the front. Then we have the Nova EXO, which is trying something. It's supposed to be like, I guess with EXO it's trying to be an exoskeleton, and then the inside here is supposed to be like the inner workings of like some living being or something. I don't really know. The color scheme is okay at best, and it's nothing. I don't know. It doesn't go well with the stock handle at all, or whatever this is. It doesn't go well with it at all. The rest of the skin is okay at best, but it kind of just doesn't work together, I don't think. And it doesn't really look good. Like, I can't describe why I don't like how this thing looks, but it really just does not look that great. So I'm probably just going to put it low D tier, below the like polar mesh or whatever it was called. Then next up we have the Nova Wood-Fired, which actually kind of clean, I'm not going to lie. Didn't know this thing was in the game, but it's got some solid design on the metal up here, and like it just kind of looks clean. That's what you see a lot of the time, is this metal part here. The front barrel is still really clean and somewhat shiny, which is really nice, and then the rest of the weapon is kind of a weird green wood with fire coming off it, you know, wood fired. And the fire actually looks okay. Doesn't look like amazing or anything, but it's actually, you know, it's an acceptable design. It works well with the weapon, and it looks pretty clean otherwise, so honestly, just, yeah, pretty well done. Pretty solid, simple kind of upgrade to stock in the same way that the walnut was, with a lot less like cleanliness compared to the walnut, honestly. Question is now if I can find it. Because there's a weird amount of overlap with a lot of these skins. I don't even think this is it. Oh, just gonna be guessing. Guessing this kind of looks close enough. Wait, no, this is it. And this that came from before. I don't know where everything's been going. Yeah, this is it. I'm putting it probably below the walnut, and I'm also gonna move the walnut up a bit. I kind of been misplacing it in comparison to other stuff. Anyway, next up we have the Nova Plume, which, yeah, this has definitely an interesting design, but I can't say if I particularly like it. It's going for like the living skin thing again, where you have all these feathers kind of coming together into this kind of weird being in the front here. And then there's that like wood in the back here. I feel like this design's kind of confused. I mean, maybe with the plume, I think the plume is that one feather used to write on stuff, but that doesn't really look like what this is. Honestly, this just doesn't, I don't know, this design doesn't do anything for me. I can't tell what's going on here. The colors aren't really crazy or anything, and it's not like I can't tell what's going on because it's super crazy. I literally just don't understand what this skin was attempting. I mean, yeah, that's all I can really say. Probably a F tier skin, because it's just confusing. Just gonna stop, like, thinking too hard about what I'm putting where. Anyway, we have the Nova Windblown, which is interesting. You have like kind of like a decent sky texture in the front here, but then you have like bacteria in the back here. I don't really know why those are. I guess these are supposed to be dandelions, but the way this weapon is structured, this literally just looks like bacteria. I think whoever made this probably made a really solid art piece, because this looks like it's kind of just a piece, like, kind of cut off and just pasted on the skin. And I think the actual full-on, like, picture that someone made here is cool, but I don't really think it applies to the weapon all that well, if I'm being honest with you. That's all I can really say about it. Probably F tier for me, even though it does look kind of nice as an actual image. Then next up we have the Nova Barak Orange, which is like a super expensive one because of trade-ups. And I mean, it's just super intricate. Like, that's all I can really say about it. There's just a lot of detail here. Almost too much detail to the point that I don't see what's really going on. But I mean, it's got really, really vibrant colors. Like, this is a really bright white. As the orange, or not orange, the red and like yellow, or like goldish yellow here are really nice colors. And I mean, yeah, the whole weapon's got like a really nice color scheme, really nice design. Even though it's super detailed, the details kind of work together in a way that almost makes it look like one singular thing and like a relatively clean finish. And I mean, yeah, you can't really understate just how bright this thing is. It kind of shines a lot. I'd put it probably under the sand dune, and because so much stuff is going so low, I'm going to move the sand dune up to a low A tier, because it's just really clean. Then we have the Nova Red Quartz, which is a really dull version, like just a really dull version of the Nova. It's got a really like dull version of orange and a really bad texture in the back here. And for some reason it shines, but it doesn't really get light at like in the right places. It just doesn't look good, I'm gonna be honest with you. Definitely a solid F tier, if I had to say so. Which I actually think it's this one. Then next up we have the Nova Graphite, which, yeah, I mean, this is probably still a bit worse than stock for me, but otherwise, I mean, it's just a more shiny version of the base here. And then, basically, you took the shiny part at the front and put it in the back, and then you put the clean, you know, like, solid part in the back, and you put it in the front. I think it looks worse on the Nova. It could work well on other skins, but, you know, some people might like it inverted. That's pretty much all this skin is. I think it's just, like, you know, an inverted version of stock, which isn't exactly bad, but I wouldn't really call it good. I'm just guessing at this point, man. I cannot tell what skin is what anymore. I'm definitely getting these wrong. This one's probably closer. There you go. Right in the middle of C tier. Then we have the Nova Rising Skull, which is just a bright white Nova with the same kind of front, which I think is kind of bad. I think if this used the thing from the Canals collection that had that really noticeably white front, then this would probably be like basically the Nova whiteout, and then you just have this cool skull thing in the back, which would be a plus. Especially since I don't think the Nova has any stickers that go there. I think there's like 3 here and then 1 like right here. So this would actually just be like an upgraded whiteout with like a cool texture in the back, but they didn't texture this front barrel here, which kind of detracts a lot from it. Makes it look a lot less clean overall when part of the skin is so clearly different, but it's still very bright and very noticeable and somewhat solid, to the point that I'd say it's probably our best thing in C tier, like a high C tier. Still a solid weapon. I mean, the skull in the back is just nice. It looks clean. It's a laughing little skull in the back. Can't really go too wrong with that. Then we have the Nova Koi, one of the ones I've seen a lot over the years just used, and I can see why. I mean, really nice, bright, like fish koi skin in the back, and then in the front you have this nice, I feel like the word to describe this is like marble texturing to it, and it kind of fades into the koi. Which I think looks kind of nice and looks somewhat like, the fish I've seen that have this type of skin to them. So it's just a really clean looking weapon, and it's really nice. I mean, there's not much more I can say there. Probably above the sand dune, but below the green apple for me. Then next up we have the Nova Gila, or Gila, I don't really know how you say this. But yeah, it's like the army sheen if it was a bit better, but emphasis on a bit because it's not that much better. Got the same problems, with just a slightly better color scheme. That's really that's all there's to say about it. It's definitely an F tier for me. I think it's this one. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right above the army sheen, which I don't know where that even went anymore. Anyway, next up we have the Nova Wild 6, which is a pretty recent one. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's going on here too much, but it definitely doesn't look bad. This reminds me of that one camo they gave you when you like pre-ordered Cold War or whatever. You got like a camo for a shotgun skin, and it looks kind of nice. I mean, it's like if you ever played like Call of Duty, it reminds me of like the Nuketown map. This is the type of thing I feel like you'd see on there just on the wall or something. Kind of like a Fallout type weapon, and it's a pretty solid Fallout type weapon. You even have the classic, like, I think that's a bottle cap. That's not a bottle cap, it looks an awful lot like one. But yeah, I mean, it just looks like a Fallout weapon. That's really all there's to say about it. Very well done by the person who made it. It 100% does look like a Fallout weapon. This definitely isn't it, but just pretend it's it's the right thing. Probably a high B tier here. And I'm actually going to move the thing that was at the top of C tier into B tier, because I think it deserves it, like that skull Nova. Anyway, next up we have the Nova Toy Soldier, which, yeah, it's literally the gun ripped straight off of one of those toy soldiers, those little plastic toy soldiers. I don't know if you had them as a kid. I did have a few of them, and this looks exactly like it. It even says Toy Soldier Military Series right in the front here, which I think is a nice detail. And then, this star was on every little design on the toy soldiers had this little star on it. And yeah, I mean, it looks really clean, really bright, really vibrant, and it's based off of something and it does a really good job replicating it. I don't think this could improve in any way, and it's just really, really solid overall. I'd say it's a high A tier, and I'm going to put the green apple up to S tier, even though the candy apple kind of stands on its own right now. Then we have the Nova Clear Polymer, which, yeah, this reminds me of like the glossy finish that the Glock like McDonald's thing has, except unlike the McDonald's where it's a glossy finish on top and you see all the food underneath, this is just a glossy finish on like pretty much stock. This doesn't look good, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't know what I'm really looking at here. Maybe my texture's really blurry and bugged or something. But this doesn't look good. It just, I don't know, this looks like the thing that you make by mistake when you're trying to learn how to model stuff. Just gonna put an F tier. I don't really know what to say about it. Then next up we have the Nova Antique, which yeah, so, I mean that's what it is. It's the antique looking design on the wood, relatively solid. And then, you know, not the best design in the middle here, but something that at least fits with the nice antique wood design in the back and front. Definitely the middle could use a little bit of work, but otherwise, I mean, this is generally a solid weapon. It's definitely not one of these last four skins, so I'm just gonna put like that there, and then I think this is the antique. I don't know. Either way, the antique is a solid like high B. I would put it exactly where I have whatever I put there before. It's nice. It's a nice skin. Then we have the Nova Boomstick, or Bloomstick, sorry. Which, yeah, I mean it's got like a really like cartoony like Pixar type of design in the back, with like a red background and some flowers on trees, and then the front is completely stock, which just does not fit with the back at all. It's a nice color in the back, really glossy though for some reason, at least with the lighting. Maybe it doesn't look that bad in game, like maybe you just see this, which isn't horrible. But it's kind of weird that the front half is still stock, it doesn't fit at all. I don't know where half of these skins are from. But yeah, I don't know what this is. And then I'm just gonna put this one probably in a high D tier. I'd still use stock most of the time over this thing. You can't get the point anyway. Then last off is the Nova Hyper Beast, which, I mean, yeah. It's the Hyper Beast skin. It's like a living creature across your whole weapon in like Ultra HD. Really nice colors, really nice design, and really well done across the board. Really solid. I mean, there's not much more I can say here. Probably above the Sand Dune. I'm actually going to put the Koi above the Toy Soldier. And I think that's about it. Sorry that the tier list was so messed up this time. I really could not find like half the skins in a timely manner. And it's just something you have to deal with as the viewer at home. Really sorry about that. But either way, hope you enjoyed looking at these skins as much as I did. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.